Right now, Dean Stott, a security specialist and author of Relentless, the true story of his time serving in special ops in the British Army. Thank you for joining us right now. You know, we're watching these snapshots on TikTok and Instagram. It's very triggering. Having served in the Middle East, how do you digest this conflict?
Obviously, this region geographically, there's been a lot of hostility over the years. You know, you have so many communities in one area, you know, fighting back and forth for land. You know, this isn't the first time that Israel and Gaza have been on the news, but it's the first time Israel have had a strike upon them that's really, as I say, probably caught them with their pants down. They're one of the most advanced militaries with intelligence services. And, you know, this strike from Hamas on October the 7th was huge against them. And that's the difference between this conflict and those in the past. And as we're seeing it unfold, you know, the IDF are chewing at the bit, as we say, to get into Gaza. But there's a few factors that are slightly pausing them, holding them back. You know, their missions, there's two missions here. One is the successful release of all the hostages, and the second mission is to destroy Hamas infrastructure. But I don't think that second phase can happen until we have the successful release of all the hostages. And this is going to be a difficult time for the IDF because, as I say, they want to get in, they want to have impact and wipe out Hamas. But, you know, with the Western world looking, you know, they need to show some empathy, and they don't want to compromise these hostage releases at all, especially if they are releasing hostages through dialogue.
Well, yeah, and we're watching video of these two grandmothers who were released by their captors. Could their account help free more people?
I think it can. I don't think this will be the first or the last set of hostages released. The problem you have here is the amount of hostages. You know, this isn't the first time as well that Israel and Hamas have come together and made an agreement. Back in 2011, a soldier, Gilad Shalit, was released by Hamas for 1,027 Palestinian prisoners, responsible for 568 Israelis being killed. So that's quite a small number compared to what we've got here. But I think Hamas here, this could slow down and pause the assault, because if there is chances of release through dialogue, you would not want to compromise that with a ground assault. And that could be quite damaging for IDF if they did do that.
Well, there is this report that Hamas is willing to exchange hostages for fuel. We know how that could compromise operations there. In terms of special ops and rescue, would that even be an option with this many people?
I think if fuel's on the table, why not take it? You've released 1,000 prisoners before, which is probably more damaging than fuel. So I think, you know, that Hamas know that they have a bargaining tool here. And I think, you know, what is the value on life? If you can get about hostages, then do so. You know, fuel is a minimum compromise.
What do you believe happens next? We have the U.S. urging Netanyahu to not go through with this ground invasion, not yet. Both Israel and Gaza in crisis mode. What does your gut say from your time serving?
I think from my time serving, and I've just returned yesterday from Israel myself, is, you know, it's not a question of if, it's when they go in. And as a gentleman's just said there, you know, it's when they are ready, and also on political instructions. I think the Western world is watching. They need to show empathy. They need to let aid go into Gaza. I don't think their IDF are also ready for the ground assault yet. So they need time to get themselves established. But to add to the pressures, this hostage release, having done hostage releases before, I know the intricacies and the you know, the planning that goes around these hostage rescues. And that's when you actually know where they are. We have 200 plus here where we actually don't know where they are. And the Prime Minister is very aware of hostage rescues, having done some himself for Israel. And he understands the risks to the hostages and also to his own military. You know, his brother got killed in Uganda doing a hostage rescue. So he's very aware of, you know, the intricacies around this hostage rescue. But I'd say this is the priority before the ground assault.
Yeah, you make some really good points about the history here, something you won't necessarily see as you're just swiping through your feed and seeing these bloodied faces. There's a lot at stake here and a lot of personal dilemma. Dean Stott, thank you so much for joining us early this morning on Morning in America. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.